What's going on, guys? It's your boy Danny Klein. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm bringing to you my top sales industry tier list, all the way from S tier, God tier, highest paying, best career choices to make, all the way to the ones that I don't think are the best, some that are the F's, some that are the D's. And listen, if you're in some of those industries, no offense to you, I'm just laying out my thoughts, my personal opinions, my personal experience from what I've seen, from what I've heard, from my pen and paper, right here to the screen to you guys. So let's get right into it. Danny Klein with the Elliott Group. I have no limit! The first industry I got for you that everyone's been raving about is solar. You've heard it, you've seen it, you see the guys on Instagram with the Lambos, you see the guys doing door-to-door, you see the guys blitzing, traveling, going to the Bahamas, going to Costa Rica, all these crazy things online. I think right now solar is a little crazy. I think solar pays a lot, but solar is an industry that is heavy and door-to-door. Now there's some industries that are doing virtual, but I think right now solar is one of those places that still does pay a lot. I think the industry right now is very vital. I think you need to be with the right company. For sure, you're seeing some of these top industries, top companies that are going under, that aren't paying their people. So I think if you're with the right place, I think it has a lot of potential. I think it's a little shaky right now. I'm gonna personally put solar in terms of income making. I've seen guys make over $1 million a year in door-to-door, being 20 years old to 25 years old. I've seen people make $500,000. I've seen setters make a minimum of $100,000 to $200,000 a year in solar. I'm going to put it in A tier. Solar for me is going to be in A tier. I would probably put it in S tier if there wasn't so much volatility with all the stuff going on between the government, between companies shutting down, not paying out their people. Could possibly be B tier, but I'll put it as an A minus for me. So solar. Next one, number 2 is automotive. Automotive is where I got my start. I see a lot of people making their first 6 figures. I see people making $200,000-$300,000. Automotive is not going to be one of those industries where you're going to make $1 million a year if you're a salesperson selling on the front lines. It's really not happening for a lot of people. It's not as common as solar. For me, I'm probably going to put automotive as, I'm going to put it as a B tier, only being because it's a great place for you to get started, to have nice walk-in traffic. It's warm business. It's not that difficult to make your first $100,000 if you just show up. You have a lot of structure, a lot of business. It's something that people need all the time. So for me, I'm going to put automotive, I'm going to put it as a B plus, just for the pure fact of the ease of getting into it and making your first 6 figures. It's a great place to get into the business, into sales, and get your hands dirty, get your feet wet. Number 3 is high ticket. You see a lot of these things trending. You see solar trending. You see high ticket. What is high ticket? It's virtual, remote, high ticket. This is people, with all the coaches online, all these people have offers. They're paying out 10, 20%. They're paying out all these different types of commissions for you to sell their program. I think right now, we haven't seen this space open for a very long time, but I think it's a space where you can get in, you can have a lot of flexibility between different coaches, different people, to where you can make some good income. In terms of the reliability of it, not really sure. I haven't had too much feedback to understand, how long are these coaches going to stay around? Are they reliable to pay? What's going on? These are generally people that haven't had businesses for super, super long time, unless you're going to somewhere that's super established. I'm going to put high ticket. I'm going to put it in the B minus. I'm going to put it as a B minus. And the reason is I think it's got a lot of potential for you to make a lot of money, be virtual, create your own freedom. But I also believe, again, there's a lot of volatility, meaning that you might not be with that same person. You're going to have a couple different offers that you're selling. If there was only one offer that you could sell, I'd probably put it in a D or an F tier. But because you're going to have a couple different companies that you can work for, and because of the flexibility, I'm also going to put it in that B tier. So high ticket is going to go in B tier for me. Next one I got is real estate. So I got 2 different tiers. I got realtor and I got wholesale. I think real estate, traditional residential real estate, commercial real estate, I think for the top 5 or 10%, it can be really extraordinary. But I think for most people, real estate in this day and age, it's pretty difficult to make $150,000 a year. A lot of hustle. It's really hard to scale just regular traditional real estate. And Love the real estate agents, but unless you're a top 5, 10% player doing luxury, high-end, you got a big book of business, good following, I'm probably going to put it in D tier. Sorry for all of my real estate agents, but it's just a difficult game to get into. You got to have good relationships. You got to have a good following. You got to have a good brand to build up. So for me, real estate, right now it's just too crazy. I'm going to put it in D tier. Very difficult game to get into. Long cycle in between deals, and very difficult. It's not as predictable as something like real estate wholesale. Now this is where you call somebody, you get a property under contract, and you assign it to somebody else. You take the difference, and that could be anywhere between $5,000 to I've seen $200,000 in assignment fees. I think right now real estate wholesale, if you got the grit, if you got the grind, I honestly think it's S tier. I think real estate, I think this is going to be my first S tier one for the sole reason of the scalability. You can build a team, you can pay out well, you can grow it. I think real estate wholesale is one of those ones where you can do it virtually, you can do it sight unseen. There's a little bit more grit to get into it. It's not as, you can't get into it and you're not going to smash it within your first 2 weeks. It takes a little bit of grind, but if you can get through that first 90 days, I've seen people make $500,000, $1 million a year all day long. Real estate wholesale is probably one of my favorites right now for me personally. From what I've seen, I'm going to put it in S tier. Next one I got is roofing. You see a lot of guys run door-to-door, insurance claims, storm chasing. Roofing is one of those ones where, again, there's a process, there's an insurance thing that goes through. I recommend getting with a nice company. Again, you can make a lot of money, but with roofing specifically, sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months to pay out, and if you're not with that employer for the full length of time, they don't pay out if you leave. Roofing, for me, I'm going to put it in C tier. Just for the fact of how long it takes to pay out. Super long. You got insurance things to deal with, other variables. And roofing, not a bad space, but for me it goes in C tier. Number 6, mortgages. Mortgages is something on the phone. You're dealing with interest rates. I'm indifferent about this one because you got people that are killing it, but also too is heavily reliant on the market and interest rates. And I've seen mortgage brokers go from the top of the game, making all the money, to almost literally going out of business and almost being done. I'm going to put mortgages down here with traditional real estate. Actually, I don't want to give it an F tier, but I'm going to go mortgages, rough space, hard to get into, a lot of phone business, very volatile. I haven't seen people really stay in the business for a super, super long time. It's a little shaky for me. F tier. I wouldn't run mortgages. It's too market dependent for me. Next one, we got software sales. Software sales. This is where somebody is going business to business. They're selling technology, very long deal cycles, very high payout. The reason I like software sales is because you can generally get in, you can get equity in these companies. If you're a top line sales rep, it's for people that are very professional, got a very good follow-up system, the people that are going to stay with them for a very long time. I'm personally going to put software for people that are looking to build careers, people that are actually, they're killers in the game. It's not something that a lot of people talk about. It's not super sexy. The deal cycle is generally a lot longer. I see people that their deal cycles take almost a year plus to close. I'm going to put it in the A tier. And the reason I put it in A tier is because of the pure factor you can build a really good career. If these companies go public and they sell or whatever, you get equity, you get shares, you get all these different things that are not available in any of these other sales industries. I like software sales for that reason. Lots of good places to move up, lots of good opportunity there. Number 8, medical sales. Medical sales is another one that's a little tricky. A lot of people or a lot of money is tying in. It's a very complicated type of game. You're not going to get on the phone and just be closing people out the gate if you're good at communicating. This is it's a friendship game. It's a relationship game. It's getting in. It's learning how to play the game of politics, make those connections. I think medical sales is only for the few that have thick skins, that are ready to stay in this game, that understand their product, that are a little bit older. For me, I'm going to put medical sales in the D category. I think it can pay out a lot, but I think for most people, medical sales is not going to be for most people for the pure reason of just how difficult it is. It's not a simple thing to scale. You got to really get in with these people. For me, D tier. Next one, life insurance. Telesales, phone sales, dialing leads. I think insurance is a great one if you got the grit. Now, it's probably one of the most difficult ones on this list. you're buying leads, you're dialing, you're smiling, and people are telling you to screw off. I think if you can make it in this industry, you can make it in any of the other industries. I think for me, it's a difficult one. I'd probably put life insurance B+. B+, just because you're not going to win in life insurance unless you literally dedicate every hour of the day for the first year or two, or you don't stand a chance. Because there's some absolute dogs that are in this space, and you'll get smashed unless you're willing to dedicate that first year or two. And for that reason, I'm going to put it as a B tier. But if you can make it those first 2 years, you'll probably become a millionaire. You'll probably become a millionaire if you're willing to dedicate those 2 years. Next one is timeshares. Timeshares, probably worst reputation on this list, slimiest of them all. I don't see a lot of people build a lot of big careers in there. You see a lot of timeshare lawsuits. You see a lot of complications with those things. There's legalities. There's recordings for all these different things in the timeshare business. For me, timeshare, don't like it. I'm going to put it in F tier. For most places, 90% of timeshares don't run a lot of good business. Now, again, this is my personal experience. Nothing against you if you do timeshares. I think there's a lot of good timeshare salespeople and timeshare companies, but it's a very difficult industry. There's a lot of friction with timeshare because of the reputation that it has. But for the top places with timeshare, not a bad gig if you're willing to do that and you like that type of clientele, you like the type of sale. Next one I got is furniture sales. Furniture sales is really good. It's a really good introductory sales business, to get in a sales industry, for you to get in, get your feet wet, learn how to talk with people, run them through the sales process, get the write-ups. You can get them in, get them out same day. You can make your first $100,000 in this industry. I think furniture, for me, I'll put it in C tier. It's a great place for you to go in. You're not going to make $500,000 or $1 million a year in furniture sales for most places from what I've seen. But again, not a bad place for you to get your feet wet and start to learn the game of sales. Communicate with people, high volume, high touches. People are walking in. You're not doing a lot of phone sales there. Furniture, not a bad gig. Also, I think furniture could be a really good gig if you're at a very high-end place, very luxury, very niche type of game. But again, most of these high-end furniture places are not going to let you get hired unless you have experience. So take that in with consideration. Next one I got is retail. Again, high volume, really good place for you to get in. I'm going to put this one in the C tier. Actually, I'm probably going to put retail in D tier because the level of clientele, just because the people that you have, it's very high volume, doesn't pay out a lot, not really a big commission type of job. It's usually salary, little bonuses here and there. But again, it's really good for your first couple months, maybe your first year, getting used to customer-facing industries, talking with people, getting in the game. Not a bad gig, just for me, probably not a lifetime career in retail sales, but a very good foundation if you're 18, 19, 20, under 25 years old, and you're trying to get into sales and get that confidence up. Really good place to be in. Next one I got, kind of similar, cell phone sales. Cell phone sales is one of those, again, coming in, very easy type of deal. If they walk in your store, not super controllable. I don't know if I've ever heard of people calling and just switching people over to different places. I put cell phones as a D tier again. It's one of those things where it's available, get your feet wet, but don't see a lot of growth there unless you move up different tiers. I don't see people that are doing cell phone sales that are making $500,000 a year. So in terms of earning potential, I don't see it personally, but again, it's another one of those great startup industries. Wouldn't build a career there personally, but I put it in C tier. Next one, MLM. MLM is very wide, and I left it open wide for a reason because you got all these different things. People have a bad, stigma for MLM, a pyramid scheme, and all these things. But it can be very profitable if you know how to recruit. You can make a lot of money. You can turn people from part-time, full-time, this whole gig. I'll probably put MLM in a C tier just because there's a lot of scalability here. You can really take it really big. There's all the different stigmas that come with it. It's a difficult game. It's not for everybody, but it's one of those deals where you can make $1 million a year. The earning potential is there with MLM depending on the product. One thing I will be wary of in MLM, if you know you're in an MLM, nothing wrong with that, but just make sure you are with a good, reputable product that has a good brand. A lot of these companies, they take the MLM route, and it's kind of scammy, kind of comes across kind of weird. So make sure you're with the right MLM. You've seen a lot of these guys come up, they come down, and they're out of business 5 or 10 years later. So be very wary of that. Don't just trust everybody just because it sounds good. You make a lot of money, financial freedom. Dig into it, do your own research, and find the best one for you. Next one I got is gym membership sales. So if you ever walk into a Lifetime Fitness, you walk into a different place, they approach you, they try to sell you the membership, the packages, the trainers, all these things. Well, those are salespeople. They get paid. I think gym memberships is a very good place for you to get your feet wet. Again, there's a lot of these places that I'm not going to recommend you for a career, for a lifetime game, but maybe for a year or two before you graduate to something that's a little bit more professional, something that's going to pay you a little bit more money, something that's going to teach you those skill sets to even elevate further. Gym memberships, I'm probably going to put in, we're going to put gym on a, I'm going to put it as B tier. I'm going to put it as B tier. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to put gym on C tier. And the reason I took it from B to C is just because of straight earning potential. You're not going to have an opportunity to make a ton of money, but it's a very high volume. It's very friendly, very customer facing. Really good space for you to kind of get your feet wet again in the gym membership deal. Now, 16, probably one of my favorites is the home services. This includes plumbing, electrical. This includes HVAC and a couple of industries that fall into that category. It could be like home care and all these different things. This, for me, I'm going to put in A tier. A lot of people don't think plumbers make money. They don't think electricians make money. Now you got to get different certifications, and you got to sell people, and they're called technicians. They're not necessarily called salespeople. But there's so much opportunity. I've seen people make millions. They can easily make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 doing these jobs, doing home services, if they run a lot of calls and they do a really good job. But you don't think traditional salesperson, but this is a sales industry. When somebody comes into your home to sell you an HVAC unit, they might be a technician as well, but they're selling you. They're selling you on the package. They're selling you on the highest quality thing because they get paid commission. Get paid a lot of money. I like home services. Very good career, very good opportunity to move up. I'm putting an A tier. 17, RV sales. And as we're closing out, I got 3 more for you, and the last one is kind of a lump sum of them all. But as I go through these things, I want you to think about, what are you doing right now? Where does your career want to go? I like some of these ones. And again, if it's D tier or C tier or A tier, it doesn't matter what space you're in. For the top 1%, some of these can all be S tier or A tier. It all depends on where you take it. But the next one I got is RV sales. RV sales is very similar to automotive, just less volume, higher ticketed. Again, very dependent on the market sometimes. These are toys. These are things that they're not a necessity. They're kind of a want. And for that reason, I'm putting RV sales as C tier. Again, RV sales as C tier. It's a great place for you to make your first 100, 200 grand. Decent place to build a career. But again, I don't like industries that will waver with the market when interest rates go up high. People are nervous. You want to think about those things. Leads me into my next one, is boat sales. Boat sales. Listen, I got a boat. I love boats. I think boat sales is one of those things where you're looking at it's another toy. It's another want, not a need. And for that reason, I'm putting it right next to RVs as a C tier. It just makes sense for me. You can make 6 figures. You can make 200 grand. I haven't seen a lot of boat salesmen that make $1 million a year, maybe if you're selling yachts, right? But I put it as a C tier. Good, very laid back. It's a lot more slower pace than automotive. You're getting people that have money, that want to buy. But again, it's more of a toy, more of a want, not a need. And it leads me to my very last one, and that is door to door. In the last, 3-4 years, I've seen a big gold rush of other people, from pest control, alarms, solar, everything that you can think of, internet sales, door to door. I think door to door has a lot of potential. A lot of potential if you can learn how to sell, lead, recruit. You see security systems in door to door. I'm putting this all in one. And I'm going to put it as an A tier for the pure fact of earning potential. Whether you build a career in door to door or not, I think if you're looking for financial freedom and you want to get in, grind your face off, knock doors, make money, I think anybody can get into the door to door industry. And even if you're not the best, I think you can still make $100,000 a year. And I think if you are the best, you should be making anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million a year. The top 10% can make that all day long. I've seen people pay off their houses, pay off their cars. They're not even 30 years old yet, and they've been in the door-to-door industry for 2 or 3 years. They get to make an amazing life, and if you learn how to recruit and train and reduplicate yourself, it's a great business to be in. So guys, that's my tier list, all the way from S tier to F tier. Sorry if I hurt your feelings in this video. Just my personal thoughts, opinions from what I've seen. Hey, I was in automotive. It wasn't S tier. Hey, I've been in high-ticket coaching. It might not be S tier. For what I do, if you're the top 1%, it makes sense. If you're that top performer, you can make all of these make sense. So take it with a grain of salt. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share the video with a homie. from my brain to you, this is the tier list, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. You know what I was thinking? Wholesale isn't going to be S tier. I'm going to re-rank it right now. I slept on it, didn't like it, we're changing it. All right, guys, I slept on it. I thought about some things. I was having nightmares. I'm taking wholesale from S tier all the way to A tier for the pure reason of how difficult it is to get into and the scalability of it with just one person. I think it's really good to make some quick money. There's a little bit of luck involved. There's a little bit of just volume. But I'm taking wholesale down from S tier to A tier, and I'm actually gonna take solar, move it up to A tier, home services and door-to-door, just for the pure fact of the career that you can build, the money that you can make, and the recruiting aspect of how wide you can go with home services, with solar teams, with door-to-door teams. I really like that. I think you can build a solid foundation with those things, and for that reason, we're bumping them up to S tier.